Hey there, YouTube. This is your good friend, the Armchair Philosopher. Well, also known as Fragments of Memory. I've juxtaposed those terms there. Anyway, I was watching on Channel 4 News about the business owners in the Del Mar Loop feeling very frustrated at the MetroLink company. And for those of you who might watch this video who aren't from St. Louis, Missouri, MetroLink is the public transportation system used here in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. Now, University City is a town or a community within St. Louis County. Anyway, they have a strip called the Del Mar Loop. The Del Mar Loop, of course, is an area of shops, bars, watering holes, coffee houses. It's basically a college town, or that area is a college area because the Great Washington University is there, Wash U, as many call it. Now, because of the MetroLink expansions and the MetroLink travel and shuttling people to and fro, it is given easier access, as the news postulates, for a lot of the young people, a lot of the teenagers coming out to communities that may normally would not have embraced them. Among this is the Del Mar Loop. Now, many of these young people, they come from communities that may not necessarily have a place for them to go to, so they come down to the Del Mar Loop. And sometimes I've seen it personally, 60, 70, even up to 100 children just mobbing, just straight clicked up, mobbing down into the Del Mar Loop. One night I was down in the Loop, and I actually saw a bunch of young people, it was around 11, maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night one summer, and they all congregated in front of the Commerce Bank, which is across the street from the Starbucks coffee house. And I remember just how the young children, they were just congregating. They weren't doing business anywhere. They were just hanging out. Now, I grew up in University City and went to high school at University City High, and I just remember when I was going to high school, that was about the mid to late 1990s. There wasn't a lot of drama in the Loop. I mean, people went down to the Loop. It was a place for people to hang out. But usually it always seemed to be the nexus, the hub of alternative culture. You had spoken word, a drum circle, you had the goth kids, you had the hippie children, you had everybody down there, but there wasn't really much trouble. In fact, the Loop even had their local characters that gave the community flavor. Well, now it's just a lot of these children. A lot of these children come from areas also that seem to be high crime rates, very high poverty rates. And a lot of these children are coming from, and I hate to say this, North City. And on one hand, I'm of the mindset that black people aren't the only ones clowning. White people clown, Asians clown. Well, I haven't seen too many Asians clown, but white people act a fool and do foolish things. But it always seems that the light is shown on blacks in America, which I tend to take issue with because I am a black person that lives in America. But then on the other hand, I see that every time that I've been in the Loop recently, maybe I'll go to a restaurant or go to an event, and the young people, it's amazing. It's 10 o'clock at night, not old enough to be out there. And now police force has been stepped up. Police are trolling the Loop now because they notice the young people are getting out of hand. A friend of mine, he blames the Loop for being too tolerant. Here I feel like I have to do this mental yoga, for lack of a better term. I have to do this sort of psychic or psychological gymnastics, where on one hand, I understand that blacks in America have been through hell, and I mean collectively. Slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, and we seem to be on the low end of the stick when it comes to education, politics, economics. We seem to just be on the bottom rung. Even people, even foreigners from other countries, or shall I say immigrants from other countries, come into come into America, make the money, work hard, make the money, and then they're able to put their kids in college, and their kids have a better quality of life, and they have a better quality of life. And it seems we we've been through so much hell, and yet we survived. But yet we are a fragmented, wounded, hurt, scarred people. We don't have the same we don't have the same connection to a culture as the blacks in Africa do, or in other parts of the world. There's no foundation, and it seems our family unit is really crumbling and really struggling. And too often you have younger people having babies. And of course, even the grandparents are not really of grandparent age. The grandparents are 30 and 20, 28. What you doing with a 28-year-old grandma or something like that? And too many times we have these fatherless homes. And I believe children do need their fathers in the home. Contrary to popular belief, I think children need their dads. Anyway, I just look at that because I've seen stuff go down in the Delmar Loop, and it's also been said that a lot of these young people are stealing and robbing from people. Excuse me. So again, just as an American black man, I don't wanna defecate on my own people, but at the same time, we could be doing better. We don't have to keep doing this. We don't have to keep being ignorant, you know? And it's a shame that we're in an area that really doesn't want us around anyway. They love the black dollar, they just don't like the black people. And unfortunately, these young children are just roaming around acting a fool. And even when I was out in the, when I was in the loop, I didn't cause no trouble. I didn't act a fool. I didn't go crazy. I didn't clown. I didn't do none of that. But I also knew that if I clowned and acted a fool, I knew my folks might get wind of it and bust my dome, you know. So I don't know. It's like there's this apathy with our people today. There's this sort of apathy, this sort of I don't give a excuse my language, I don't give a fuck attitude, with our culture. And I'm just like, wow, what's up with all this apathy? What is up with all of it? And just I guess that's the thing too. Why do we want to keep just doing ignorant stuff to the point where law enforcement got to get involved? And you get a record, your life is harder than if you don't have a record. So your life is harder now because you, and then it makes a lot of businesses want to move away. So now the area becomes blighted. So now it looks like we're just a bunch of weeds, just choking the life out of every flower. And I know this is not the case. I know we can do better than this. It's just I see it too. Like I remember going to a midnight showing of a movie at the Tivoli, which is like a local midnight showing type of place. And anyway, I noticed some young ladies walking down the street, and one of them's wearing short shorts and like almost like a bikini looking top, and she's spilling out of it, and she's pushing a stroller with a little kid in it. And I'm like, what are they doing out here at 11:30 at night? Shouldn't y'all be at home with your mom and dad? I mean, shouldn't you be with your brothers or sisters somewhere else? Why are you 14, 15 rolling the streets? And then you're scantily clad and you can't be up in the bar. There's nothing for you in the loop after dark. What are you doing there? So for me, it messes with me just a little bit. So on one hand, I'm someone that relies on public transportation for right now, and I'm like, the reason they keep voting down all the things that Metro Bus wants to do is because they're afraid our people, gonna come out and mess up their neighborhood. Why do we have to be destructive? Just something I'm musing over. Take care and peace.